Hey everybody, this is a Sliders review, and I literally just found out that today is International Women's Day. Who knew? I didn't, because I'm a man. And because so since I never knew this holiday, growing up, so I've now decided to try to crank out as many videos as possible as I can today, slowing down the other videos that I already recorded and stuff, so I'm gonna have to delay those. Chances are when these videos do upload, it probably won't be today, it'll probably be tomorrow, maybe, who knows. But hey, let's try to speed through this right here right now. So I'm here today to talk to you about Disney Channel original movie Motorcross. So this came out in 2001. I was just graduating high school and going into college in 2001. And this is considered one of the classic Disney Channel movies from that of the Zoog Disney era. Back when you had stuff like Even Stevens and Lizzie McGuire, and before they went all like Hannah Montana and like Wizards of Waverly Place and stuff. This is more of your like center type movie. A bit mature, not really. It's not zany, wacky, nothing like that. It's like, a feel good type movie. And like this movie has a really interesting theme. So interesting that I wonder if they was to tackle it today, they would probably improve on what they did back then. Now, of course, this is about like a 90-minute movie. It's a Disney Channel movie. They couldn't really go there as far as they wanted to. If another network was to try to make this movie, they probably would have went there and expanded the themes and tropes and stuff like that that they wanted to like show. Now, of course, this is back in 2001, and they couldn't go as far as they wanted to because people probably would have got pissed and mad at them and stuff like that. What do I mean by that? Well, Motorcrossed is about a young girl named Andrea, and she has a twin brother named Andrew. And so, Andrew does motocross. And motocross was really kicking it up back in like 2001. I've never personally watched one on television unless it's fictional from like another show. See, around this time, Power Rangers went to Disney and they went to New Zealand and they had Power Rangers Ninja Storm. And in Ninja Storm, they had three of the characters that were Rangers did motocross. So that's how I first got introduced to this. But it was quickly picking up steam around this time. In fact, there are a lot of sponsors in this movie and professionals and stuff like that. Motocross, and then like I said before, it started to really kick up around this time because when the second Charlie Angels movie came out, they had motocross and stuff, a scene in their movie. And also with Power Rangers Ninja Storm, like the Rangers like vehicles that they got around with, motorcycles, were dirt bikes and stuff. And so Andrew, the twin, he hurts himself, right? And he can't compete in this big championship type thing. So Andrea decides, all right, I'm going to shave my head to look like a boy. Pretend to be my twin brother and win the like trophy and stuff. I remember when I saw like this, 'cause I never watched this when it came out. And 'cause I used to see like clips of it and stuff like that and trailers and stuff. And I'm just like, dude, she looks like a dude. She's too cute to look like a dude. And so like, 'cause she looks like a dead on boy when she cuts her hair like that. And I wonder how she felt when she had to cut her hair. She has long hair. Even till this day, she has long hair. The actress who plays her. And I remember just seeing that, thinking to myself, like, dude, she looks like a dude. And so, she pretends to be her brother. But while doing this, she starts to have feelings for another motocross rider. And so like that's when kind of like the hijinks and the shenanigans start happening, but they didn't happen as much as you would think they would happen or much as they should. So of course she has to do the whole Mulan thing and pretend not to be noticed as a girl, and So when I said they couldn't go there in terms of like the relationship she had with that dude, because of course she looked like a dude and the other dude was like straight. This also reminds me of the movie Ladybugs, where the main character is a boy who pretends to be a girl to play on a soccer team because his stepdad is the coach, and they want to win, and they know he's a really good soccer player, and so they dress him up as a girl and stuff. And that was back in the 90s, so they really couldn't go there as far as terms of relationship. Now, what's really crazy is that this is actually based, or loosely based, off of a William Shakespeare novel, Twelfth Night, which was written by William Shakespeare. Is about like there are these two twins, right? And they become shipwrecked. Viola and Sebastian, they become shipwrecked, and for whatever reason, because I didn't read the book and I'm not about to read the entire synopsis, but for whatever reason, Viola, she decides to dress up as a boy named Cesaro, and she falls in love with this of a duke. And of course, he ends up falling in love with her back, thinking that she is a guy. And stuff like that was very common back in the day, like homosexuality and stuff like that was very common back in the olden days and stuff. And so like it does really make you wonder how this movie would have been different today if Disney would have went there more. Because like they went the aspect of Andrea having a crush on the one dude. And so like, what's that one dude's name? Is it Dean or Devin, I think? Riley, Dean, I believe his name is. Like, they didn't really go that far in terms of a relationship other than her just having a crush on him. Also, there's so many instances where she should have been found out as like a girl but never was. I really wish the hijinks were more like hijinky and everything, or whatever you want to say. Like, I wish there was more, because there really wasn't that many, and she kept getting out of every situation like very easily and stuff. Like, there's this one occasion where her and Dean, they go out to like a lake, and he strips down to like his underwear and he hops into like the lake. But of course she can't, because she's a girl and she keeps her motocross outfit on and stuff. And so he's all like, why aren't you getting into like the water and stuff like that? And so like this should have been a perfect opportunity for something wacky to happen, for her not to be able to get into like the water, other than him pushing her in there anyways and them wrestling in the water. And there are a couple other times where it's just like, they really had that missed opportunity. There should have been more times where she should have been like found out. And they should have explained how she covered up her boobs, but basically she just kept wearing as many baggy like shirts as possible over like sweaters and stuff like that. But there really should have been a time where she should have either been found out or almost found out, because she even wears like fingernail polish, and when people see that, they look at her kind of weird, but they don't say nothing about it. It's just like an awkward moment, but everybody just accepts it for like what it is. But it's pretty common back in those days. Dudes didn't wear fingernail polish, Another thing I really wanted them to touch down on more was the interaction between Andrea and that of Dean. Because like it's just her having a crush on him. Now he has a crush on another girl, and he's trying to have Andrea, who he thinks is Andy, try to hook him up with this one girl. And so, this is like a really awkward situation because she likes him. And it should have been more of a love triangle type thing, because the girl that Dean wants, she likes the way Andrea looks. And they didn't touch down on it as much as I wanted them to. Not only that, but the interaction between her and Dean, like, it's weird. It's kind of like, whenever he talks to her, when he thinks she's a dude, he's always up in her face. He's always smiling. At one point in time, they're wrestling, acting like dudes. And it almost seems like the writers wanted to go, or at least the actor wanted to go there, but they couldn't, you know what I'm saying? Because this was the early 2000s and stuff. But it did, like with their interaction, if you watch the movie, their interaction seems like he's almost into her slightly, like just slightly and stuff. And that's of course supposed to be the basis of, like, you know, that novel. Him falling in love with her, thinking she's a dude and stuff. And Disney did not go there. Now, would they go there today? That's a toss-up because they still don't have that many strong LGBT themes in their Disney show properties and stuff. The closest they had was Andy Mack. And, you know, I think they would have went there with the Black Scorpion and Ultraviolet show if it didn't get canceled and stuff. And so, like, I don't think they would have went there, but any other network probably would have done that because that is supposed to be the emphasis of the entire novel and the entire movie. Dean is supposed to fall in love with, like, you know, Andrea as like a dude, and it's supposed to cause like problems and stuff, you know, especially when he's with this other person. So because it's a Disney movie and the length of time and the time era we're in, we could not get the full extent of what this movie should have been. Another thing this movie touches down on is feminism and stuff. Andrea, she is, I believe, a cheerleader. And her dad does not take any interest in her cheerleading and stuff. Because her dad's like a guy's guy type person, right? And it really does upset her. And so she does play around on the dirt bike with her and her brother, and he ends up getting hurt. And you know, somebody blames her. I can't remember exactly who. But anyway, she tells her father, look, because her father, after Andrew gets hurt, her father goes to Europe to find a replacement. She tells him, yo, just pick me. I'm really good and stuff like that. But he tells her, you can't ride a dirt bike. You're a girl. And so this is still back in that mentality of back in the day where people feel like, you know, just because you're a girl, you can't do a guy's thing. And that for the most part is the big draw point of this movie, is her wanting to prove that a girl can do it too. And they do touch down on, like, you know, her frustrations with that. But they don't do it in like a really, really like deep kind of way. Because even though she wants to prove herself and everything, she has to prove herself as like a guy, pretending to be like a guy and everything. Which is fine, but it would have been a whole lot better if she would have kept her hair. But of course, that would have went away from now what this thing is based off of. And so she does it anyway. Her brother's all in for it, and her mother finds out. But her mother's like okay with it, but worried that the dad might find out. The little brother doesn't really care. He's in his own world and stuff like that. But you know, the message of feminism, and a girl can do whatever a guy can, it's shown more than like really said. And of course, you always want to like show more than tell, but when she looks like a dude, you don't really think, oh, she's a girl underneath and everything, you know? Also, like, it would have been nice if she would have given more impactful speeches, talking about how girls can do whatever a guy can, and Disney kind of fumbled on that a bit. I guess they didn't want it to be too preachy or whatever, but it would have been nice if she would have had more speeches, dressed as a dude, being like, yo, like, why can't a girl do this, or like whatever. And it should have been more emphasis on her trying to get other girls to do motocross and everything, which if this was written today, most likely it would have been. So, like, she does get found out by the father, and he's pissed and everything. But his reasoning all of a sudden isn't because she's a girl. It's just he doesn't want her to get hurt because she is a girl, and he believes girls are fragile. They have like a heart-to-heart and a hug out. But this is when she should have scolded him and be like, look, if a guy can do it and get hurt, you wouldn't care, but just because I'm a girl, you know what I'm saying? Like, that should not matter. So I really wish that theme of feminism would have been a lot stronger than what Disney tried to do. because when she is later found out, he does bring a person over from Europe, and it's a really scumbag of a type person, arrogant, tries to like get with the rival team and stuff like that. And so when she is found out, she is allowed to compete and everything, and like she ends up winning. Now, at one point, she does, I believe she does try to take on a group of guys dressed as a girl, and her brother's all like, you gotta be careful because these guys will like brutal you up and like, riding that bike and everything. They will really mess you up. But you don't really see that too much because she comes kind of like in last place or whatever. I don't know if she's dressed as a girl then or not. I can't really remember. And so, of course, Dean does find out she's a girl later on, and he's mad and stuff like that. And it's weird that he's mad. Why is he mad that she's a girl? Because later on, he does try to date her and everything. So it's kind of like once he found out she was a girl, he should have been happy, but he's upset because he's been duped and everything. Because he thought he had this really cool guy friend and everything that he can like tell things to and nobody could judge him, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And so it does make me think he secretly did have a crush on her as him, but of course Disney was not allowed to show that. And so like when it comes to the cast, it's funny because the lead actress, I kept getting her confused with Taylor from Power Rangers Wild Force. Alana Alston, she plays Andrea slash Andy, and she's a former child actress and stuff. She was on a show called Ink. She did other like movies produced by her dad that was also like motocross type themes. I guess they must have a thing for motocross, or they're probably trying to capitalize off the motocross movie and stuff, which is a smart move. Sadly though, she no longer acts. And like it's actually, if you look for her online, she does have an Instagram, but there is another Alana Alston out there who's also blonde and around the same age, but this one is a political like news journalist and stuff. So you gotta be careful on which one you find. Raleigh Smith plays Dean, and he's best known currently on being on Nancy Drew's final season, and the final episode is next week. And let's see who else is in this. Timothy Carthart, he was in Yellowstone just recently, and he was that lieutenant commander that kept pissing off Data in that Romulan episode. Mary-Margaret Hums, she is best known for Dawson's Creek, which I have never seen. Scott Terra, his character is like a mechanic. He's in his own world. He can fix anything and take it apart. And I like how they don't make him the stereotypical young brother who acts crazy and stuff like that. He's more chill. He is best known for, he was in one episode of Time Force and Power Rangers Time Force, but he played young Matt Murdock in the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. Trevor O'Brien, he plays Andrew, and he plays in a bunch of like shows and movies. Mark Curry appears in this movie, and I have absolutely no idea who this man plays. He's always on his phone, and he's there at the competition. I don't know if he's a sponsor or the person who hosts it or what, because he doesn't have a big role. Basically, he just walks around, talks on the phone for a couple of seconds, and he disappears. He only pops in the movie like twice. This is disheartening because Mark Curry is a very famous comedian. He had his own show on ABC for multiple seasons, and hanging with Mr. Cooper back in the 90s. So being on an ABC show, and Disney owns ABC, and him being so famous, you would think he would have a bigger role in this. But this is what they did to black stars back in the day on television in general and on Disney Channel. I remember that skating movie, I forgot what that movie is called. That skating movie I just reviewed earlier this year or last year. and they had Walter Jones on there, and he is the original Black Power Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and he pops in the very beginning of the movie, disappears for the rest of the movie, and then reappears towards the end of the movie. And it's like, why do they keep doing that with their black stars? One thing to consider is, would this movie be considered problematic today? No, I don't think it would be considered problematic. But if they were to make it today, it could like stir up like some rufflings in the LGBT community, because of the simple fact, one thing about the LGBT community is they don't like it when non-LGBT people dress up like, as a different gender. Like back in like the 90s and stuff like that, and a little bit of 2000s, but mostly in the 90s, you will always see straight men be in the movie where they, for whatever reason, they had to dress up as a woman, as like a disguise or whatever. And a lot of those movies are classic, but in today's times, the LGBT doesn't want people like that dressing up like that. If they were to have, like, say, a man dressed as a woman, they will want it to be part of their own community and stuff. So, 'cause that's why you don't see that much no more. Or a period, actually, you don't see it anymore. Because they hate when they see stuff like that. They also hate when they see straight people play like, gay character roles or this and that, or like a person, like a cisgender person playing like a transgender person and stuff. So most likely, if it was be made today, it would have to be a woman from the LGBT community dressing up as like, a guy, as opposed to say like a straight person dressing up as, like whatever other gender. Now, I don't know Alana's like, preference and sexuality. So, but what I'm saying is, if this movie were to get made today, say by any other network or whatever, they would have to cast like a person who is like a drag king and everything and stuff like that. Like, like a woman, born a woman, and then who decides to dress like a man and stuff like that. So this is a really like fun movie to watch. It's a classic of Disney Channel. You'll enjoy it. I don't know how much you enjoy it. It's not like, the greatest Disney Channel movie and stuff like that, because like the themes that they didn't want to touch on, they should have touched on and stuff like that a lot more. And I think if they would have touched on themes a whole lot more, then it would have been like, like a huge thing. But this is like a classic Disney Channel movies. It is, part of like, Double Team, I think it was, Luck of the Irish, Wendy Wu, Cadet Kelly. Like, it's back in like those good old days of Disney Channel before they went crazy with the Hannah Montana stuff and the High School Musicals and stuff like that. Happy International Women's Day, everybody. All right, well, I'll talk to you later. Bye.